Good morning. Welcome to On the Level Racing Channel. We had a cracking day yesterday. Couldn't have asked for a better, um, you know, money wise. We hit a plus 20. I think it was 27 points. We hit. Uh, so we're up for £313 for the 2 days over this current meeting of Ascot, which is pretty damn good, really. And just hope that we can carry this on. Some great winners yesterday. Fujiara Prince really impressed me in the last race. I mean, it went away and didn't. That was it. It's finished. Put distance between him and the field quite comfortably. Great run by Lord North. The ground must have dried out a little bit there for that horse to pick up the way it did, because he's not really a soft ground horse. So that's what we were thinking that as the ground dried out. But I can tell you now that there's been quite a bit of rain. Not heavy rain, but there's been enough rain, and there'll be enough rain obviously sometime this morning and up to about midday at Ascot, so it could get back into the ground again, and we could still see the ground going on soft side of good, even though they put it up as a good ground at the moment. So we're going to get straight off into 115 Ascot on day 3. This is an additional handicap race. It's a Golden Gates handicap, class 2, over just shy of a mile and a quarter. It's like I said, additional race. There's no big stats for the race either. We have to look pretty at top 2 in the market here. Hugo Palmer's horse, Ryan Moore, comes in for a horse called Acquitted. He could definitely get favourite backers off to a very good start here. Was last seen over at Newcastle when ridden by Ryan Curtis, and it got within 3/4 of the length to a very, very smart horse indeed of John Gosden's, called Palace Pier, who, if I believe his horse goes on Saturday in the he goes into St James Palace Stakes, and he is fancied. He's only 4-1, so we have to respect Acquitted's form. And back in third there was a horse called Yoshimi of Richard Fahey's, who also ran a cracking race, but and did keep on in the final stages of that race behind Acquitted. Acquitted had to concede £4 that day. We had to concede 8 this time around to Yoshimi. Without making any significance, we have to see. But I think Acquitted has to be respected, indeed. From a single figure stall here, and the fact that Global Storm will go up £5 after this race. He's off at 92 now. We'll rate off 97. This could be a very good chance for Charlie Appleby's horse here. William Buick comes in for the ride on Global Storm. Now, he was last seen at Newmarket a couple of weeks ago when winning a Class 3 handicap at Newmarket over a mile and a quarter on good ground. Just got up in the dying stride, but was finishing on very well. And Kieran Fallon, he gave it a peach of a ride. Probably one of the best rides I've ever seen a young man pull off, really. Even though he is now a black type jockey. But Global Storm was very impressive, and I do think coming from stall 9, he will get a definitely good toe into the race. So they're the top 2 of the market. Others in the race here, Laser Show's gone a bit backwards here for Cybin Soroa. I wasn't impressed last time out. He lost his way a little bit, especially after when he beat a horse called Dark of Night over at Maydown. He hasn't really come on well, really, since coming back onto these shores. And as I said, an outsider in the field here, Richard Fahey's horse here, Andrea Anzini, comes in for the ride, about 20-1 in the market. It's last seen, I said, at Newcastle behind Acquitted, and that was under Barry McHugh. So that's where the form line, I think the Palace Pier form line is quite strong. And these are the 2 I'm going to play against the market here. The fact that Global Storm is getting £1 from Acquitted, we just have to see how the race pans out. I mean, this hasn't been a really good race for high draw, really. But as we've seen, what's been happening this week already, high draws have been benefits, especially on this ground. So on that note, the fact that Ryan Moore is right over Hugo Palmer, I think this horse will be backed off the boards. He's now currently 5-1 with William Hill. I won't be surprised if this horse probably goes off about 7-2. Global Storm is obviously the horse in there against him, who will obviously get the soft ground, and also Yoshimi. I think that's the form line. Palace Pier for form line is definitely strong. So I'm going to go here on a 1 point win on Acquitted at 5-1 with William Hill to get us hopefully off to a good start with a small quarter point each way on a horse called Yoshimi of Richard Fahey's, which is trading around 25-1 with Ladbrokes. So that's the first sections for the Golden Gate handicap at 115. On to the 150, the Walton Stakes. It's a listed event over just shy of 1 1/4. There's been a lot of money around for Foxtel, and we've seen a move from 8-1 into 13-2 for Regal Reality also. Ones on exchange that look quite coming in a bit is Mountain Angel, but I think the St Dragonet of Aidan O'Brien's horse is very solid. This could be a very, very good day for the Ryan Moore here. I mean, last seen when running the listed Devoy Stakes, beaten to a horse called Numerian. That wasn't that's not bad form. Numerian's run quite considerably well since. I mean, he won he finished third in the Magna Graecia on quicker ground, which probably saw him out. But he finished behind two good horses in Fleeting and very good high horse of Jessica Harrington's Leo De Fury, who I think is going to be a very smart horse this year over these middle trips. So I think the Miriam form is quite strong for Sir Dragonet. And considering this horse was a bit heavy gambled last year for the Derby, went off as short as 11-4 for the Derby last year. So, and that form is quite strong because the horse back in fourth, Nick and Jack Cave, came out of Leopardstown and won the Lead Moss Stakes listed event last week over mile 6. So strong form again. I think Sir Dragonet, it's his race to lose, I think, here. I mean, he's probably the more progressive type here than most of these 4-year-olds. And I think a 3-1 is a good price for a 2-point win at 3-1. Others I looked in the race here. I think, as I said, Foxtel and Regal Reality could have a chance here, but I'm going to stick my head out here. It's a 2-point win on Sir Dragonet. Maybe Ryan Moore could take the first 2 races on the card. On to the 225, which is the Jersey Stakes Group 3 event over 7 furlongs. And here I pinpointed 3 in the race. If we look down the bottom here, Final Song, Cyprian Savours, William Buick, nice filly, got good form through the Guineas there. The Quipco Irish 1000 Guineas when finishing 4th to Love, which is strong form, of course. You're running a classic. You've got to respect any horse that finishes the top 6 in the classics and comes on. So the fact it was Pat Cosgrave riding the horse. It was Final Song was 100-1, and he comes into this race much shorter than that. He's around 9-1, 10-1, but probably have to step up to win this race. Again, Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore again. I mean, beautifully bred by American Pharaoh. 7 furlongs, probably a bit short, I should think. It's probably a mile. It's going to be a mile horse, mile plus horse in time. I think this will be too short. Last seen again in the Irish 2000. We're finishing 7th behind Siskin. Totally up against it. O'Brien had 5 in the race, and all he thought were beaten. Vatican City was the best of the rest, which another horse that was quite impressive to go on when going to step up and trip. But Monarch of Egypt will probably have to step up quite a lot to win this, now dropping back in trip. Ryan Moore just coming for the ride again. That would be something if you see that guy win the first 3 races. But my bet I want to play here is Roger Varian's horse here. Jim Crowley comes to the ride, leading jockey at the moment at the meeting. That's Molotham. I was quite taken with his Autumn Stakes run, the Group 3 over a mile on soft ground. When beaten quite convincingly, by 8 lengths by Military March, who run a good 4th, a very good 4th indeed in the Guineas. And back in 6th was a horse called Johan, who has come out of Frank the Form since. So Molotham becoming out of stall 5, which isn't too bad. But I think I wouldn't be surprised to see Jim Crowley bring the horse over to the higher draws to give himself more of a chance. He need a bit of cover, this Molotham, because he will fly at the end. And horse at the bottom here, I like here, is Richard Fahey's horse here. Obviously, I don't have to say fans enough because they booked Tony Hamilton, which is not a great jockey. He's not a very, very strong jockey. Got Ventura Lightning in this race. Now, Richard Fahey's stats record in this race is pretty good, 2 from 5. He's only sent 5 balls here, 2 winners, which include last year's winner, Space Traveller at 21 under Danny Tunhope. But probably up against it this year, Ventura Lightning. But he is a big price, about 40 to 1. I wouldn't put anyone off. Probably, if you can get, you'll probably get first 3 places. Some places will pay 4, bet 365. It'd be nice to see if Ventura Lightning can run on and run a big race here. But my main bet, obviously, will be around Molotham, which I do think Monarch of Egypt could be a serious threat here for Ryan Moore. I don't fancy King Lineless at all for John Gosden. I can't have Charlie Hill's horse here, Fleeting Prince. The French Raider, Francois Chapel's horse here, Célestin, finished reasonably good 4th in the French Guineas, which is pretty good form really, and probably has to be respected on James Doyle from stall 2. But then again, this horse would have to come across again to try and get in the better ground. So overall, I think Molotham should go very well here. And I think a 1-point win at 5 to 1 with William Hill, Molotham, to land this race, the Jersey Stakes, in the 2:25. On to 3 o'clock, the big race, the second biggest race of the day, really, I think. Even though it's only a listed event, and that is the Chesham Stakes. Over 7 furlongs on good ground. I think it's a good little race, this one. Again, O'Brien and Moore team up here with Battleground. Nice colt by Warfront. Seen at Nace on debut and finishing 5th, over 6 furlongs on quick ground. And was beaten quite convincingly, really, under Wayne Lorden. Looks in need of the run. And step up to 7 furlongs here. We'll have to see how well he does with the trip. Modern News is one of the horses I put up to watch out for this week on one of my live shows. Beaten by Neck on debut at Newmarket over 6 furlongs on good ground won by Neck on 6 furlongs on good ground when beating a horse called Noble Dynasty of Charlie Appleby, stablemate. Again, we don't know how good that race is going to be, considering there was a few good horses in the race there. He was winning the second favourite. The way he finished off the race, he will get the 7 furlongs, that's for sure. But I think the form line for me is Golden Flame of Mark Johnston's. Now, I was quite taken with his run at the Haydock. It was a class 5 event. I was just shy of 7 furlongs on good ground. It was beating half a length to a horse called Devious Company of Tom Dascombe's. Back in third was Clarendon Cross, fourth March Law, who he takes on again here. But I think there's more to come from his Golden Flame. I'm just wondering if the 7 furlong could be just too far for him. But you know, you would expect a big run here being from Mark Johnston's yard, and Johnson has got a fairly good record in this race. I think he's no, I do apologize. He hasn't got a good record in this race. You know, if we look at horses that have won this race over the previous years, last year's winner, Charlie Appleby, Pinatubo. You know, you've got Churchill in there for O'Brien. You've got September in there for O'Brien. Siberian Sorors won this race also. So, I mean, Charlie Appleby's horse here. I'm going to probably be foolish to go against it. I mean, I put him up as one of my horses to follow this week, and the fact that it's also by Shamadal, I think there's more improvement to come from this horse, and I think the trip is going to suit him very, very well. Yeah, she's buying. You know, he's got a new approach there. It's Godolphin. William Buick comes for the ride. I can't go against what I've already put up. I will be very, very foolish. So I think this is where the bet's going to go here. Okay, so it's going to be a 2-point win. You can get 130 with Paddy Power on Modern News in the Chesham Stakes, the listed event in the 3 o'clock at Ascot. That's Modern News. On to the 3:35, which is the feature, the Ascot Gold Cup. And we've got a $1 million horse here, a £1 million horse here, Stradivarius. Can he win the whole race for the 3rd time? I think you could put a line through his last run, mile and a half. I think it was just a race. They needed to get a run into the horse. I don't think they didn't go there to win the race at Newmarket in the Coronation Cup. They probably knew the horse's fate halfway round. But Vittoria came back and said he was very pleased with Stradivarius. He thought he ran very well. Gayaf, who I put up to win the race, just was not touched there from start to finish. And Andy Van Dyke ran very well also. But people might say, "Oh, Stradivarius was looked very one pace," but it's a mile and a half, guys. You know, this horse is out and out stare. He's won this race twice, so I think you can just disregard a mile and a half for this horse. So he deserves to be the 4, 7, 8 to 13 favourite. But I'm going to take him on here. Before I do, you can take a look at Nayef Road here. Very impressive last time out. Cross counter, again, has done reasonably well. But it's been a while since this horse won in this country. He's a Melbourne Cup winner. And we have to go back to 2018 of August when he went to the Gordon Stakes, being a horse called DXB of a mark 108. And comes in as 118. So it's a difficult, very, very difficult with Charlie Appleby's horse here. The race is definitely going to have a good clip in this race due to the fact that with holes in the race, who is just one of those horses that very rarely wins, just goes off at a rate of knots, and just catch me if you can, and they will. They'll mow him down, but he will set a very, very strong pace, and whoever wants to go and chase him. I was expecting Nayef Road to come out here and obviously try. But I'm going to go for the bottom weight here. Martin Mead's horse here. I see Murphy comes in to ride a horse called Technician. Now, his 2 wins at Longchamp at the back end of last year's season was pretty impressive, especially when he beat a horse called Call the Wind. And he's already beat Moonlight Spirit prior to that. But Call the Wind has come out this season and he picked up a nice Group 3 and he was just beaten in a Group 2. So obviously Call the Wind, Freddie Head's horse is quite impressive. He's a 115 rated horse. Technician really put the sword to him and beat him by 11 1/4 on heavy ground. I forget off 116, no penalty, no group penalty. So you have to respect Technician here. And I think there's a good run in him in this race. He's generally 5 to 1. I'm going to have to go each way in purely because Stradivarius is in the race. So it has to be a 1 point each way, but at 5 to 1 with Bet365 on Technician for Icy Murphy and Martin Mead. On to the 410. And I think I'm in the camp here of Simon Christopher's horse here. Andrea Zini comes to the ride on Finest Sound. This horse is, I think, is at least £7, £8 within here. Not the greatest draw, but he's come out of stall 17. And I just thought, yeah, 5.5 length win last time out. That was in a handicap company class 4 over just shy of a mile over good to soft ground. It depends how he will go on a straight course. I don't think he'll have any problems with it. Failed to win as a juvenile with 2 runs at Sandown and 1 at Newmarket. However, his 3rd last year at Newmarket over 7 furlong good to soft was quite good. He was beaten quite out of sight, but Vatican City was back in 5th, who run a cracker recently over in Ireland. So, yeah, I think in this kind of field, I think Finest Sound could be the horse to beat, definitely. Could we look at horse each way here? I quite like Verberton, of John Gosden's horse here. Was beat by Ziggle Pops last time out over at Lingfield in a class 3. Back in 5th was Habor, 3rd was Grove Ferry, and another horse called Contratier Way was there as well, who also runs in this race. And it's just a question which one of Gosden's horses is going to step up here. I mean, I said he's got Verberton, he's got Cherokee Trail, but none of them really fancied here. Ziggy Pops, there'll be a big price for Richard Hannon. Dubai Mirage will have to step up. It's probably £5 the wrong way here. It's just one of those races that is that you can stick a pin in probably and then hope for the best. John Goss has also got enemy in the race, but this horse could be slightly less experienced, even though was last seen when he just beaten over at Yarmouth by half a length to a horse called Mr. Snowden, which is not really that good form, really. I think enemy would have to really improve once more. And the fact that obviously Murphy's gone in for the ride. Stall 21, it's not a bad draw at all. I wouldn't put you off that at all. Great ambassador for Ralph Beckett. I just think the problem for me here is Exceed and Excel. I mean, I want to back Finest Sound. I mean, he's second one after a win operation. The fact that he's due to go up £7 up to a mark of 94 in for future races. But it's the Exceed and Excel pedigree that concerns me. The fact that this pedigree has tried to win this race on 15 attempts and failed all 15. Okay, yeah, we can always turn around and say it's always the first time. But yeah, the trends are there to be broken. However, you've got 2 horses in this race that are well drawn, and they're there in the market. 7-2 Finest Sound, 14-1 Great Ambassador. I think Finest Sound could be very short, too short for this. Enemy's coming here about 6-1. Verberton's there as well. Verberton's winning by Frankie. Ryan Moore, Cherokee Trail is an even bigger price. The last 3 runnings of this race, we have seen big prices land the spoils here. If that's the case, we've got to look at here. The angle we could probably go from here is probably on Great Ambassador, I should think. Ralph Beckett's obviously. Harry Bentley takes a ride. I mean, when I was looking at this race here, there is, as I said, it is Exceed Excel, but at 14-1, I'd be very surprised to see this horse not placed at least. There's no reason why it shouldn't be, and I think he's a valuable each way bet. I mean, Finest Sound, as I said, £7 still winning. Could take this race by the horns and win easy going away. But I'm going to have a little bit here. I'm going to go against the trends. I mean, I'm playing here not to win the race, I think, because also being the Exceed and Excel pedigree. So it's going to be a half point each way at 14-1 on Great Ambassador. I'll be happy for this horse to finish in the top 5. Bet 365 are paying 5 places, so Paddy Power. So half point each way at 14-1 on Great Ambassador. And I will probably back another horse in this race here. And that is, give me a second, guys. I am a little bit behind here. Yeah, there'll be another bet here for me. It is a huge price here. Too big for my liking. And that is John Gosden's horse here. He's pretty outside of his entries here. Horse called Eshhassi. It's about 50-1. Owned by Hamdan Al Maktoum. 51 for an Oasis Dream horse is quite high. Last seen over at Newmarket last year. Didn't really show much. It was a novice stakes. He was beaten out of sight over a mile. Weakened very tamely under Rob Havlin. It's only one on the all-weather at Kempton, but he has competed at pattern level. He competed the Solario Stakes last year when finishing 5th, a long way down, but that was on hard ground. And the horse that finished 2nd in that race was a horse called Kamiko, who went on to land the guineas for boarding. So that could be a good angle. I mean, maybe Eshhassi can step up here at a big price. No Jim Crowley, obviously, on the horse, sadly. It's actually quite sad. I don't think Jim Crowley's got a ride in this race. No, he hasn't. So my bet here will be, as I said, will be half point each way at 14-1 on Great Ambassador. And we're going to hit a little quarter point each way at 50s on Gosden's other runner in this race, one of his many runners. With I think he's around with Ladbrokes here. Yeah, 51 with Ladbrokes, quarter point each way at 50s on Eshhassi. On to the final race, the Sandringham. Again, a minefield. 18 go to post. You'll get first 5 again this. Some firms 6. Very short price favourite here, guys. In African Dream of John Gosden's. Now this horse is due to go up to £16. A beautiful filly by Oasis again. Beaten last time out of Newbury behind a horse called Stylistic of Roger Varian's, who was 10-11 to win the race. Probably a very good race indeed that was on that good ground. He's only beaten those at 10-1. Was a winner on the all-weather at Lingfield as a 3-year-old, over 7 furlongs, winning a novices stakes. So it could be more to come from this Oasis Dream filly, African Dream. I'm saying if this horse wins at what price it is, the book is going to be running scared from this one. But he has been pretty weak on exchanges, sorry, over the last few hours. I think others we have to look at here. I pinpoint a horse called Dubai Love, which Frankie has decided to team up with Saibin Saror. He's around 6-1. This horse has been mainly out in Maidan over the winter. Picked up a nice listed event over there for Mark 85, and then there was penalised for £16 for winning a listed event. Absolutely horrendous, to be honest. And I think he's going to struggle with 101, and the fact he has to give weight here to quite a few good horses. Dubai Love. So this will bring me on to the horse I do like, which Jim Crowley's got to ride in this race on Hubor, if you can pronounce it. Here from Mark Johnston, nice filly, about 16-1. He was in that race behind Verbatim, when finishing 5th in the Class 3 over at Lingfield, which was won by Ziggy Pops. But back in 7th, there was a horse called Tom Free. Tom Free ran a cracker at Sandown last week when just being beaten by a horse called Will of Wisdom, who we put up on the live show. So, I mean, I won't disregard Hubor at all for Jim Crowley. I think he's the leading jockey at the moment there. I think he could be overpriced in this race, a very open race indeed. It's about 18-1. Others we have to look at here, I thought stood out a little bit, was Michael Stout's horse, Ryan Moore again, on his filly called Sophica. Now, if we go to his debut run, is where he won, where she won, and won easy, over at Pontefract, over 6 furlongs on good ground, and then was stepped up when beaten by a horse called West End Girl of Mark Johnston's at the Newmarket in the Sweet Celeria Stakes Group 3. So we've got a group pattern horse here dropping down into Class 2 company, which I think could be a very shrewd move by Sir Michael Stout here. James Doyle rode her that day. Ryan Moore comes in for the ride this time around. And like I said, if she doesn't lack the experience, which by looks like she doesn't, I mean, she could be a serious threat here. Serious threat. I think there'll be a lot of money for her over the next few hours. So they're probably 2 against the field for me. It'll be a 1 point each way at 7-1 on Sophica with William Hill, Ladbrokes, generally across the board. And we will go a 0.5 point each way on Hubor, 18-1 with Bet365. That's in the Sandringham Stakes, the 440, the finale on today's card. So that's all of the 7 races covered. I'll go over selections again. We go back to the 115. That was a 1 point win at 5-1 with William Hill on a horse called Acquitted, with a crazy little 1/4 point each way at 25-1 on Yoshimi, purely on the fact that the Palace pair form. On to the 150. I think this race is O'Brien's to lose. 2 point win at 3-1, Bet365 on Sir Dragonet. I just think there's nothing much in the race there that really stands out for me to beat this horse, really. I mean, if you've got a horse who's been heavily backed to win a derby, he must be good enough to get close here. The 225, the Jersey Stakes. Again, I'm against the favourite completely, and I think a 1 point win at 5-1 William Hill on Molotham, I fancy here. And I'm going to pick a little 1/4 point each way here on Ventura Lightning at about 40-1 with William Hill. That's where my 2 bets will go in that race. 3 o'clock, which is the Cheshire Stakes. Again, very open field. But I think I put this all up already. I think a 2 point win here. I'm going to crack a 2 point win on it with Paddy Power, 130 on Modern News. I think could be the horse to beat here. The main race of the day, the Gold Cup. Stradivarius going for his third win, but I'm going to go up against him this time, and it's going to be a 1 point each way with Technician. There's 8 horses going to vote to post. I think 5-1. Even Stradivarius beats us, at least we can hopefully get a place and get your money back. You get even money with the place. That's 1 point each way Technician in the Ascot Gold Cup. That's the 335. On to the 410. Again, I'm going to take on a favourite here, even though the horse is well in on the weights. My bet will be here, half point each way at 14-1 on Great Ambassador. I thought I did mention another, didn't I? Maybe I did. Oh yeah, and a quarter of a point each way on Esh Harry. Esh Assi, I call it also Esh Assi, yeah, about 50-1 with Ladbrokes. Yeah, it's a quarter point each way on Esh Assi at 50-1. And the final race, which is the 440, which is the Sandringham Stakes. Again, I'm going to take on this hot pot here, African Dream. I'll have to go each way on 1 point each way with Suffolk at 7-1 with William Hill, and my little half a point each way, 18-1 on the Herbur with Bet365. That's in the final race, the Sandringham Stakes. So that's March of card for day 3. Hopefully we can still be in profit after this day. Like I said, be lucky, bet only what you can afford, and all the best. This is Ray on the Level Racing Channel signing out. All the best. Good night.